All right, let's get it cracking. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now back. Rarefied Air, Season 6, Episode 1. We're coming out the gate running, sprinting. The most explosive of trajectory. We're doing it. We've got the man that's building his legacy as we speak. I mean, it's at the point now. Let's be real. All you gotta do is say the name. You can go down the list. If I say Ray, you know exactly what I mean. If I say Bob, you know exactly what I mean. If I say Kim, you know what I mean. I can say Gustav, you know exactly what I mean. Now we're at that point. Is he a young gun? Absolutely. But it feels like he's been here for a little bit. One name, Gavin. You say that name, you know exactly who I'm talking about. How did I get him? I have no clue. Don't ask me. My pockets are empty. I had to pay him. We are with Junior World Champion. Check that on the box. Multiple time world record holder. Check that on the box. OG Sheffield member. Check that on the box. His name is synonymous with anything USA Powerlifting World Team. You say that, you know his name's up there. Can he squat like a 105, 120? Absolutely. How he's able to fit all of that power on the 93 body? I have no clue. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the man, Mr. Gavin Adin. Thank you for being on, my boy. I appreciate you.
Brother, thank you so much. That's an incredibly kind, but also like a massively hype up introduction. I don't think I've ever had somebody introduce me like that.
Listen,
Man,
bro,
that's better than I deserved.
Listen, that's all right, man. Let's cut to it. We got to cut to it. You're at this point now that the body of work that you've managed to put together in such a short amount of time. Don't get it twisted. It's not like you've just been doing this for decades, but this body of work that you're managing to put together in such a short amount of time, it's impressive, bro. It's impressive. Now, the crazy part, man, is that it's exciting for me, really on the outside looking in, because I'm noticing now that we're at that point where that United States powerlifting golden era is kind of making its way back. There used to be a point in time when we first started, which is weird because it was not too long ago, but when we first started, I mean, they started really making the Raw division a real thing after like that post 2012 initial meet that they had. There was a point for about a 5-6 year period where, like, all right, if you come from the U.S., I mean, no matter what weight class you're in, if you're the top 3, top 4 U.S., you could go to Worlds and win. And you know, that's, don't get me wrong, that was a great time. But then it's not even that everyone was catching up. It's just that competition started getting better in other countries. Whereas in the U.S., we were just butting heads every day, every meet with somebody. Like everybody, literally the top 5 were all world class level. And then we got to a point where, you know, kind of was like maybe top 1 or 2. And the last 3 to 4 years, man, you're a part of a group of 93s, a group of guys, period, that if you're a top 3, top 4 guy, you got a chance to go to Worlds and you can win. I mean, any total that comes from nationals, you know, the last 2 or 3 years has been like, oh, well, that's an easy dub. You know, you're probably the first guy that I've known of in quite some time that has gone to an NAPF meet and be like, hold on, bro, he could easily win Worlds based off his NAPF scores. It's been crazy, man. I guess that's why I want to cut straight to it, man. Like I want to know, I mean, because I've watched, I watched you, since you started, man. And I mean, you've hit the ground running, along with a few other 93s, but you've hit the ground running, and your body of work really speaks to a level of consistency I haven't really seen in quite some time. And I can't, like, I won't sit here and be like, oh, dude, this guy, he's strong, but I don't know. Like, I think I'm like, yo, this dude is different. I just want to know, at the gate again, what is that like being a part of this group of U.S. lifters, of just world class lifters in general? It's just kind of ushering this new age of golden powerlifting type.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, I never thought that the word consistent and my name would be used in the same statement. I think I'm not that, 9 for 9, three white lights kind of lifter just yet,
No,
but I
not yet.
appreciate that. Not yet, but we're getting there.
Here's the thing.
I
I'm not looking at attempts. Notice I didn't say attempts, but I'm looking at the level of strength. It's just been doing this the whole time. I mean, and again, it's not a knock, because not everybody is able to really have such a what's the word I'm looking for? Such an impressive linear increase of strength. You've consistently gotten stronger, and you know what I mean. And here's the thing, man. I will say this. You know what I mean? Like, there's sometimes I'm like, you know what, bro? This dude lifts like an equipped lifter in a raw guy's body. Like, I ain't gonna lie, you will roll the dice. You know what I mean? But again, that speaks to you being confident in that insane, consistency of strength increase. So I guess let me go ahead and, I'll preface it. That should have been our preface. So all right, now you're good. Go for it.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing. It's a blessing and a curse
Right.
because, you know, so I came to powerlifting to win worlds, to be an open world champion, to be
Right.
the greatest human in history. And it's frustrating, of course, to consistently find yourself meeting every single challenge and then falling short by an inch over and over and
Mm-hmm.
over again. And it's frustrating, man, when, you genuinely do, at least in that moment, you feel you've given everything.
Right.
So there was no stone left unturned. And that's a very different feeling than losing, knowing that maybe I had more in the tank,
Right.
right? And so that's kind of what I'm met with time and time again. And it's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing and a curse because I'm not achieving what it is I want to.
Right.
But it's a blessing because that forces me. There's no greater iron for me to sharpen myself against than this right now.
Absolutely.
So when you say, like, yeah, you're battling in such a deep class with such phenomenal athletes, strong athletes, which you are, and we're one of your own. I mean, the reality is, oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, you good.
The reality is, I remember my first open national championship, bro. I was sitting there and everybody's like, yo, dude, that's LS, that's LS. I'm like, yo, that's fucking LS, right? And I remember the first thing I ever said to you, I was asking about the bar whip because it was the first time I felt that much bar whip in a meet. And you were like, look, man, just stop being a bitch, basically. Just fucking, that's what it is. Just do it.
Yeah, you gotta do
And
it.
that was my first interaction with you. And I think it speaks a lot to your character. And we are a part of a class that I think, and I say this in half jokingly, but when you hit 93 kilos, you're not victim weight anymore, right?
Mm-mm.
As a man, you're no longer victim weight.
Nope.
So you're talking about real grown ass men battling head to head. And so that's a different type of strength. And so what's beautiful about it is that when I win and when I become the undeniable, undoubtedly best lifter in the world and in history in my weight class, it will have been against the absolute best
Absolutely.
strength athletes ever.
Right.
And I think that road has been harder than most. But again, the blessing is that that's what it's going to take to get you to that level.
Absolutely.
And then when you do get to that level, you can look back and say that it meant something,
No, I totally agree, man. You have given me chills over here. I think what we do is not normal. You know what I mean? It's normal and it's not normal. It's not normal in that we know that you get under that bar, and I've done it a lot. You've done it a lot. You get on that bar, especially when you're sub 220 and you get under 700 plus pounds. It feels different. It feels so different than, I mean, I've done seven, at many different weights, but when you are sub 220, when you're closer to 200 than you are 250, I'll put it that way, and you put 700 plus pounds in your back, it feels completely different. You don't have the belly that you have as a bigger dude to come out of. It's you. It's all you. You feel it differently. The lighter you are, the heavier that weight feels. And there's points and parts of weight that when you get closer to 500, when you're benching, it feels completely different. You know what I mean? When you're closer to 200, when you're closer to 250, when you're pulling something 750 plus, it feels way different. So people, it's easy to be like, oh, I can do that. But here's the thing: not everyone can do that. And even if you can do that, not everyone wants to do that. And I think this is where we're very, very weird in that we crave that feeling over and over and over and over and over again. I know that, you know what, man, this is gonna be, you can literally look at the numbers, you know what I mean, prior to training, like, oh, this one's gonna hurt for sure. And rather than what a normal human being, like, let me figure out a way to get away from that. We're like, all right, when is it time for me to go and abuse myself? I'm waiting all day. Nothing else matters today. I'm not thinking about anything else. I might take off of everything else for the day, probably the day before, when I'm like, I got a big lift coming. I got a big, tomorrow's a big bench day, or today's a big squat day, whatever it is. We're so irregular in that we crave those moments. We crave those opportunities. Where we're the same as everyone else walking this planet is that we want to be the best at whatever we do. It just is what it is. I don't care if you're a baker. I don't care if you're a custodian. It doesn't matter what it is. You want to be the best at what you do in whatever form or fashion. So that passion that one has for your craft and perfecting your craft, in order to be the best possible version of yourself, that's something that not everyone really has. The part that sucks, and I can totally agree with you, is when you feel like you have crossed every T, you've dotted every I, and you walk into the building. There's no indicator that you're not going to be the one that walks out a champion. That feeling is undeniable. Like when everything's like, you know what, dude, all I need to do is go out there and do what I've been doing over and over and over, and I'm going to be the last man standing. And when you're one of the last men standing, it's completely different. It makes you a different person, bro. You know what I mean? And I kind of told you some of this stuff, in the back. The best meets I've ever had are the ones I took L's on, like straight up. Because you literally are looking back like, okay, I did everything that I needed to do to get to the end of this finish line at the number one spot. I should have been P1. And somehow I'm amongst the best, but I am not the best for today. It pushes you to a different point, you know what I mean? Because, and I think that's the part for me as a fan of the game, as a fan of yours, is I'm excited to see what your new version is going to be. Because the crazy thing about this is there's going to be a Gavin, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, 5.0. There's going to be so many versions because it's going to be your adaptation to whatever was placed in front of you at that particular point in time. There's going to be times, and this is the hard part, I can tell you, when you become the man, the hardest part is repeating being the man. Because you think, you know what? I did everything I had to do to become the man. That's cool. It's fun to chase, bro, but when you want to be being chased, it's different. I have no doubt that you're going to be champion. I have no doubt. You know what I mean? I feel like it's a matter of time. I feel like you year by year, and it's a part of the maturation process as being a lifter. Year by year, you get better and better at tweaking things here, tweaking things there. You know what I mean? Like, all right, well, there's like, whoa, I don't know. Well, Gavin, you never know. You may not hit depth. Okay, cool. Check that. I got you. Now we're hitting depth. Not only are we hitting depth, we're hitting depths at world records. Now what? What's next? Oh, well, we don't know about his diet. You never know what his diet's going to do. You know what I mean? Like, he's a little guy, but he's a big guy. You know what I mean? Like, all right, cool. All right, we dialed in the diet. Now what? Now what do you have? Crazy thing, side note, you walk in the building at Nash this year, I'm like, yo, this dude's really looking very Clark Kentish right now. You know what I mean? Chiseled in the face. You know what I mean? And I think for me, and it's weird because it's absolutely no secret. Like, I got about 5 or 6 guys that are like my absolute favorites. Like when y'all do something, like oh man, and you and Jonathan, y'all are two of my absolute favorites that walk in the building. You know what I mean? And it may be just be my me leaning toward my 93 brethren or anything, but I just, dude, I absolutely love what you guys do. I love, you know, not only the battles, but I love the respect you guys have for one another, and the fact that if anyone's gonna raise another person's game, it's gonna be one of you two. You know what I mean? And so when John took his break, I'm like, come on, bro, what are we gonna do? Like, what are we gonna like? It's not gonna be those classic battles that I that I like. Everyone kind of has to have that person that their battle. Like mine was always Lane Norton. You know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, you got somebody that's gonna keep you sharp. But when you guys both walked the building, I'm like, oh, they both look really good. You moved different this time. You had a different. I don't know. You're moving different. You had a little different attitude about you. You know what I mean? And it wasn't cocky. You know what I mean? It was just kind of like, no, I'm on it. And I just asked Coach, like, man, he looks good. He's like, yeah, we're ready this time. We're ready. I'm like, you good? I'm like, yeah, man, I'm ready to go. I'm like, all right, cool. That's it. You know what I mean? I ain't say anything else. I let you know what I mean. I let you do your thing. And you came out ready to rock. Coming into Nats this year, I don't want to know the secrets. They don't need to know the secrets. You know what I mean? If they ever get good enough, you know what I'm saying, to learn those secrets, and they'll get those secrets. We don't need to know the secrets. I just need to know what was our attitude adjustment and our approach coming in Nats this year versus anything else.
I mean, that's a really great question. I found like as I've matured as an athlete, first of all, you're absolutely right. So far, my most powerful meets have been the ones with the hardest losses.
Absolutely.
Because they've forced me to learn and make those mistakes. And it sucks because, like I said, blessing and a curse. It sucks because, look, when you fail at this level, you're failing at the biggest level.
Absolutely.
Against the hardest competition in front of the most people with the greatest stakes. The benefit to that, though, is that's like getting punched in the mouth. There is nothing that teaches you better boxing defense than getting punched in the face.
Absolutely.
So you do that enough times, you start to realize, like, man, I don't want to get punched no more. What do I got to do?
Right.
And so that's and my mom always said I learned things the hard way. It takes me at least 3 times of doing the same fucking thing and failing to figure it out. So I have to, it takes me a while to go through it. But the lessons are really, really important. And so, moving into this meet, a lot of it has been mental. So the maturation, of course, is always going to be programming variables you tweak.
Right.
There's going to be technique stuff, nutritional stuff, recovery stuff. That stuff is like necessary,
Absolutely.
obvious, easy wins, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The hard wins are the mental. And I think a lot of times you have to face the fact that, especially in this sport, no one's stopping you from winning except for yourself. This isn't 1v1.
Right.
This is you versus you, right? Because at the end of the day, you're as strong as you are.
Absolutely.
And so a lot of times, and I learned this equation from sports psychologist David Cook, performance equals potential minus interference. And a lot of interference as an athlete is going to be external. A lot of that shit's not in your control, man. You just do what you can do. You can prepare as best as possible. Where it really hits you is when that interference is the stuff that's within your control, so the internal.
Absolutely.
And honestly, man, like I don't want to get all preachy or whatever, but my relationship with Christ is really what became a foundational cornerstone
Absolutely.
of my mindset and my character, and that started from NAPF. So I started really taking that seriously and working on that. And NAPF was the first meet where I truly kind of just gave that to him, and then just carried that forward going into nationals. And look, it's not perfect. I struggle. I have doubts. There's a lot of negativity. My baseline is probably more low than most people. So my natural gravitation is towards negative thought patterns, not positive ones. I'm not like a happy-go-lucky dude. I tend to take life a little too seriously sometimes. So for me, it takes a lot of work to bring that out.
Right.
Going into nationals, the biggest thing, man, was I know exactly what I need to do to be who I need to be.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go do that, execute that consistently, and then believe in that, trust in that, and then also place my trust in him. And it's that simple. And so in doing that, going into nationals, I just knew I was ready.
Right.
And that's part of the reason why that nationals loss, was probably the hardest loss of my career so far.
Yeah. In all of that I identify with resonates. The one thing I guess is you when you tweak as much as you can, and it really sounds like you really did a better job about being proactive about some things that normally you would have been reactive about. Tweaking elements that you're able to control. Controlling what you can control is one of the most powerful, empowering things that you can do. Realizing that you can control only a few things. One of those big few things that you can control, of course, is going to be yourself. It's going to be your reactions. I know that I'm a very reactive person. I know there's a lot of elements in life that you just cannot control, but I also know that I can set myself up in a position for better success by removing a lot of those things out of the way. I think I follow in your shadow with that. When I really started taking my journey as a lifter, my journey, it's really as a man more serious. As I started really looking at some things that I can control versus those things that I couldn't control, and realizing the things that I can't control are exactly those things, are things beyond my control, whereas those things I can control really have to do more so with me, the people around me, my settings, kind of like your diet, your recovery, the way you train, your attitude toward it all. Those things that when I learned, I guess, to try to control those more, to be better in terms of my pro action, I feel like that really kind of pushed me into a different level. Much like yourself, I mean, I'm very deep into my faith, my family as well. So having one less thing to worry about in terms of a lot of things that you tend to carry when you feel like you're by yourself, being able to give that to him, like, God, I need to offload all this on you because it's too much of a load that I can't carry on myself. It's too much of a burden that I don't need, and you tell me consistently, constantly, give me your carries, cast your carries upon me. So I'm going to do that. I think when I started doing that, it definitely put me in a different headspace, and it gave me a lot less worry, and really allowed me an opportunity to really focus and have more fun with what I was doing. I think again, most of this is just my observation outside looking in. This version of Gavin looked like you were having a lot more fun, and in that you were having more fun with what you were doing. It also looked like, as you were going throughout this journey, a lot more people were inspired by your words, by your actions. And that was really, no lie, man, like from the time of talking to you at last Nats to seeing you this Nats, that year time in between, I just saw a lot of changes as far as just how your words, how your actions, how your points of inspiration were really moving through a lot more people than before. And that was awesome to watch, man. No lie, that was awesome to watch. I don't know, man. I've always just had a soft spot for you because I just I see a lot of just that, bro. I'm trying to get it. I see. Yeah. I've been that way since day one, man. I'm like, yo, this dude's he's trying to get it. And it's not. You're literally in one of the hardest classes, if not the hardest class. Like, people don't understand, bro. They're 93s, bro. It's nothing but a pool of sharks. And it doesn't matter if you're in the States. It doesn't matter if you're in Eastern Europe. It doesn't matter if you're in the UK. Like, if you're a 93, bro, and you're in that 1%, bro, you're fighting for your life every single time you step onto that platform. And so for you to be, so tenacious, so hungry in such a deep, dangerous class worldwide, mind you, you have to root for a person like that. But to see the way you're doing it, and how many people you're bringing along with you on this journey, man, that's been one of the dopest things to watch. You got all these cats getting vision boards, and trying to, and really trying to figure out, like, where's my why? What is my, what's going to happen after X, Y, and Z? Like, what else am I going to be doing? I know this lifting thing is awesome, but what else in my life can I enhance? you honestly might be one of the best that I've seen so far at really, you know, kind of explaining your journey. And like, you know what, matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you what my journey is, but you know what, come along with me. Matter of fact, you've got your own journey, let's do it together. Where's this sense of community, this sense of community creation, where does that come from? Is that just like something that you're naturally, because you seem like you're a natural leader, number one. And I'll give it to you. I mean, you might be like a glass half empty type cat for a little bit. You know what I mean? But has that changed in terms of your mental approach with everything? Like, has that been a way that kind of affects like your leadership and your ability to create community?
Yeah, man. I mean, first of all, you said so many great things. I just want to thank you because I genuinely needed this type of reassurance. And it means a lot coming from you. So yeah, I mean, first of all, my greatest gift, I think, to this day is my ability to be resilient. And that's something that half of it's genetic, half of it I learned from a young age. I'm very blessed to be where I am, this beautiful home, this beautiful, safe neighborhood. We didn't always have this.
Yeah.
I was born out of wedlock before my parents were married. And at that time, both parents worked in jobs. My dad was in medical school. My mom was working two, three jobs. We were on welfare and food stamps.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up, half of my life was that.
Right.
Then the second half has been this. And I had three younger siblings. So I also have responsibility, to them.
Right.
And so I think a lot of it comes from that. So yes, I think a lot of it is just straight up resilience. But there's also, I don't know if I am a leader or not. I just know that and this is kind of like how I pray too. It's like, look, I'm not asking for it to be easy. I
Mm-hmm.
just need it to be possible.
Let's
I'm
get it.
not asking for the strength. I'm just asking you to give me the courage to be strong.
Let's
That's
go.
all I need.
Let's go.
And
Let's
so
go.
that's how, man, dude, like I see, you know, man, it makes me emotional. Like I see so many people, especially like young men, who they don't believe in themselves. They don't
Mm-hmm.
have the right positive reinforcement. They don't have anything, and they need someone to speak into them, to
Absolutely.
show them that they can be great. Because I truly believe every single individual on this planet was born to be great. And so my job, and this is how I was raised, my job is to lead by example. So
Absolutely.
I cannot tell you, yo, just go decide what you want to do and go fucking do it. And when you do it, give 110%. I
Right.
can't say that to someone and then not do it myself.
You got to
The
practice what you preach. Absolutely.
Exactly. And the tricky part, man, honestly, is that I'm so like imperfect. So I stumble so many
Mm-hmm.
times, I fall so many times. In fact, like one of my thoughts too is like, bro, how am I telling people what it takes to be a champion when I still can't even win a national championship? Like, how can I tell people that this is what it takes and this is the way to be when I still haven't won an open world championship? So I still struggle with that stuff, but I'm figuring it out as I go. And that's why when I talk to people, I try my best not to speak from a pulpit, not to speak
Yeah.
as if like this is the way to do it. It's more so like, bro, look, that's where I was. This is how far I've come.
Absolutely.
This is what I've learned. If you can take something from this, please do. And that's kind of what my mindset is. And I truly do believe, man, like uh we're all in this together. Like
Absolutely.
at the end of the day, this stuff, strength is not my identity. I didn't get into powerlifting because I love powerlifting. I got into powerlifting because I love being strong and I
Yep.
love the idea of being the greatest. And
Absolutely.
so powerlifting just happened to be the vehicle. And if I can impact and inspire people along the way, that's amazing. And again, it's kind of like it's bigger than you. Like
Absolutely.
truly strong people, it has nothing to do with the barbell.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? So it to me, that's really what I'm aiming towards. And I do hope that my legacy can, if nothing else, inspire people to understand that they have the potential. You have the
Absolutely.
potential. It's still a choice, but you have the potential.
Well, I can tell you this, man. Those words are beautiful, bro. Um, I can tell you this. The fact that it's always in the back of your mind that you don't want to soapbox when you're telling people, you know, it's a possibility you can get better. Whatever it is that you're choosing to do. Um, that's that speaks to great leadership. I'm just telling you that right now, off rip. Um, Secondly, it doesn't necessarily come off as hypocritical that you're like, you can be a champion or whatever, you know what I mean? Even though I haven't been a champion at XYZ, that's fine. The thing is, you're not claiming to be this, that, or the other. That's the big thing. Again, great leadership qualities. Um, but people choose to follow, and I'm going to tell you why people choose to follow. And man, you may see it, maybe you don't, but I mean, hopefully you see this. People choose to follow, people choose to absorb your words for a number of reasons, but one of the main reasons that people don't necessarily view you as a hypocrite, they don't necessarily take your words with a grain of salt. They take them for where they are because they're genuine. Number one. Number two, people gravitate and they identify with somebody that's grinding to get to the end of their goal, that's trying to get to that end goal. That's why so many people like love what you do. They follow you. They take your words to heart because they identify with that person that's grinding, bro. You know what I mean? It's harder to identify, and this is real talk. It's harder to identify with a millionaire / billionaire because, bro, like they see the end result. Whereas it's easier to identify with that person that Charlie Hustle that's every day getting up 5, 6 in the morning, going working a 9 to 5, you know, a 9 to 12, whatever it is, working a job all day long. You know what I mean? Coming home, making sure the wife and kids are good and all that stuff. And then, you know, sitting down and being like, hey, man, it was a long day today, man. I don't know how I hated work, whatever. It's easier to identify with a person that's grinding because a majority of us are in that process of trying to get to end goal. So when you're speaking your words and when you're saying what you're saying and you're doing what you're doing, they're not be like, this dude's full of it. But rather, they're like, hey, man, I get it because I'm trying to get it too. You know what I mean? Like, dude is setting goals. He's writing them on his board. I'm going to do that too. You know, he's accomplishing as much as he can. And here's the thing. We all write a lot of stuff down. We all get to a point where we have in our mental vision board, we're like, all right, I want to knock this out. I want to get to X amount of whatever. I want to accomplish X amount of whatever. I want to be able to get my family, whatever. And, you fall a little bit short. Now, here's the thing that a lot of people choose to do. Man, I didn't get it. What's next? That what's next is what people really, really, falter at. Sometimes they choose like, I'm just going to try something different. Whereas you're like, nah, you know what? That sucks. Let me dust myself off. Back to the grind more. Let's get it. Dude, people like that. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people are at that point in their lives, whatever it might be, that they're like, oh man, I'm at a crossroads. Do I stop or do I keep going? I don't know. It's easier to stop and try something else because I didn't hit the goal that I necessarily wanted. You know what I mean? And your ego's a little bit bruised. You know what I mean? A little butt hurt. You're like, man, dude, I can't believe I didn't. Damn, I did everything I was supposed to do and it didn't work out. And here's the thing, man. We always say like, man, shit's not fair. Well, life's not fair. You can think that you were the man, that everything was lined up, that you had everything knocked out, everything was where it was supposed to be, and somebody bested you. Shit, all right, now what do I do? Well, shit, I'm going to grind. I'm going to get back up. I'm going to make it happen. Now, to that little dude that's watching, to that little dude that's like, all right, man, whatever Gavin's doing, I'm doing. Shit, he didn't stop. Why would I stop? Like, people identify with that, man. Like, there's people out there that grind, and grind identifies with grind. Grind resonates with people that grind. And you're a grinder, bro. It just is what it is. So, I mean, people are going to follow. People are going to hear your words because at no point do they come off as you're soapboxing. At no point does it come off like, all right, I'm better than you. At no point does it come off as you talking at them. It's always, I'm talking to you. We're in this journey together. All of those qualities, all those things that I just said, those are all characteristics of a good leader. You don't know if you're a good leader, that's fine. You don't have to know if you're a good leader. You look at those people that follow you. You look at the words, you know what I mean, that come out of your mouth, and they're like, yeah. And they recite your stuff word for word, bar for bar. Like, you know what? Gavin said this. All right, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to do that. You look at how many people I watched. Look how many people walked up to you as soon as you walked into Nats, man. You know what I mean? That would waited to get that picture. Waited to get that handshake. Even after you took an L, they waited for that handshake. They waited for that picture. They waited for whatever joke you were going to tell, whatever it was, man, and they kept waiting until that last person, you know what I mean? And then we walked up like, yo, that was Gavin. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to see it right now, but when when you look back, you're like, damn, bro, okay, I did a little something. The whole process of this it's all work, man. It's all work. It's what we chose to do. This is the life that we chose. And we have these tools that can either, like you said earlier, you can speak life into a person, you know what I mean, or you can choose not to. But you've chosen to speak life into people. Um, you've, in a lot of ways, you've chosen to lift life into people. Um, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I can tell you straight up. I get kind of emotional. I'm an emotional person. So, like, like there's, I mean, I've been on the sideline low key for about 2 years, right? And really just, banged up, cut up, whatever, And there's been times where I just, I just watch you lift. I'm like, all right, I gotta get back. 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 You know what I mean? And you're like, crack a little joke here and there, or whatever. And I'm like, this motherfucker's cold, bro. I gotta get back. A lot of times it's not really what you say, it's just how you do it, man. You go, you know what I'm saying? You'll get it in, and say a little joke here and there, say a little something here and there. I'm like, yeah, I got you. All right, no, I got to get back on it. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, I can't put anything on my back right now. But, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to go get this leg press on real quick. You have an ability, man. You have some intangibles about you, man, that really make people gravitate towards you and your words. Those are just natural points of leadership that some people have, some people don't. You know what I mean? And it's some people use it, some people don't. You use it, even though you may not know that you use it. But I mean, you have an ability to really, to really inspire people. Just not necessarily just through your words, but through your actions. That's a huge thing. You know what I mean? In your quest to find the man that you want to be, and at the same time, as you're adding more layers, what I'm saying, to your texture as a man, through all this maturation process, don't overlook those things, because there's things that you're doing right now. There's things that you're saying. There's people that you're impacting in such a way that, I mean, it's a beautiful thing to watch. And there's a lot of us that watch. There's a lot of us that sit back. And I mean, I try to be one of those people. I'm gonna brag about you to your face rather than behind your back, because sometimes you got to be told to your face, "Hey, man, you're killing it," and you're killing it. And I know taking that L is not. I know it's not easy, bro. Damn, I know it's not easy. You know what I mean? Like, I'll put this way. I have more world championships than I have national championships. Let's talk about that. You know what I mean? So it's not, your journey may not be like everyone else's journey. You know what I'm saying? Like, it may not be, like.
I will say too, though, that, I mean, two things. One of the things that allows me to continue to press forward, because it's not easy. You've seen me
Yeah.
at when I missed weight, and it's like, fuck, man. I mean, it's such a anybody who's missed weight, especially for a national championship, the last thing you want to do is lift. And that's happened to me twice, and they both happened to be national championships, and we still lifted.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where you had a conversation with me in the back, and you told me, don't just lift. Go out there and show them who the fuck you are,
Absolutely.
regardless of what happened.
Absolutely.
And so it takes, I call them like putting cookies in a cookie jar. It takes people like you saying simple things like that, which to you in that moment, you're just being a father in a way. You're just being a mentor. You're just being a friend and a coach and a brother. But to me, that's you breathing life into me, right? And literally putting wind in my sails. And so because of people like you and unique moments like that, I'm able to have that extra push just to keep going, keep going, keep going, And so that can't, that you can't just skip over that. I mean, I think that's very real. I'm not in it alone. And and the other thing too, man, is like I this Nationals loss was the first loss where I was genuinely angry. Like I was genuinely frustrated and pissed
Absolutely.
off. Not at my competitors, just at myself.
Yeah.
And I will say that so my South Africa World Championship, my first Open Worlds, I lost, and Ryan Lapidak came up to me in the back, and I had long story short, had pulled for like third place, but then ended up getting pushed out.
Yeah.
And that third that I took was an attempt that I had missed on the second, like got stapled to the floor. And so we had come back and gotten it on the third. And Ryan came back and he was like, "Look, man, circumstances don't make the man; they reveal him to himself."
Absolutely.
And that has stuck with me ever since. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that was the one of the first and last times that I allowed myself to be such a bitch because some people from the outside looking in were like, oh, Gavin went out on a shield. He's still there. But in my mind, I knew how I felt. I
Right.
saw the man. The circumstances revealed me to who I am. And I
Mm-hmm.
realized, like, I almost folded. Like, I was like, I can't.
Ooh.
What kind of guy is gonna. And dude, so from that moment on, I was like, if there is anything I am ever going to be, it's not that. My parents did not give all of this just for me to get this far.
That's
My
facts.
siblings, people like you have an obligation and a duty to carry that shit forward as far as you can fucking go until you
Absolutely.
breathe your last breath. And I don't mean to be all motivational and shit, but that's real. So like my only experience in almost everything I've ever tried to do has been hard. Like nothing's really ever kind of come easy to me in a way. And so like I said, blessing and a curse, but I will never forget even like Sheffield, the last Sheffield I did, dude, we made weight with 30 minutes to spare. So I lost 10 pounds of water in like basically a morning, barely made weight. And here I have a squat battle trying to win this whole fucking thing. We
Yup.
recomp. Ray's looking at my last warm up, and it was like, so I took like 550, like wobbly, could barely get it up. He's like, yep, looks great. You're good. And take my last warm up. And we end up taking the squat world record that day. And I can tell you right now, in those moments, it's dark, it's deep. Powerlifting is a unique sport because no one can do it for you. Only you
Mm.
can step on that platform and execute. So the way you train, the mindset, like everything, it's literally it has to be honed
Man,
prior to. It's all in the
I'm
preparation.
telling
And
you.
so the one thing I will say is although the losses are difficult, it's like anything else in life. When you take each thing to the chin and you make a decision, you've committed to go all in no matter what happens. I'm going to continue to move forward, even if I'm fucking crawling. I will move forward. When you make that decision, you have no choice but to get better. And I do believe that at some point it has to pay off
Oh yeah.
because the only alternative is death. And if I die, then I wouldn't have known anyway.
That's
And
what I'm
so
saying, bro.
it's a
That's what I'm. Listen, man. God, dog. Yo, if I jump off of the second floor building right now, dude, I'm about to jump out my window, bro. I say that all the time. Like, listen, if I die doing this, I don't know that I'm dead, bro. I swear I got chills on chills right now. I don't think people understand. You got to be a little bit gone up here to do this. Um, this is such a beautiful sport. I've literally been everything you're speaking straight to my soul right now. I've literally been there. You know what I mean? Barely making weight with minutes to spare. You know what I mean? And going out and putting on a show. Um, and the crazy thing, people don't even understand. Like, bro, sometimes I'm smiling, bro. I'm not smiling because like I'm having a great. I'm smiling because if I don't smile, I am going to cry. You know what I'm saying? If I don't smile, I'm gonna swing on somebody because I put myself through the closest thing that a person walking earth can feel like. This is my little piece of hell that I put myself through. And I'm telling you right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you're at that point and you're cutting that weight, I don't care if you're sitting in a sauna. I don't care if you're sitting in a hot bath. I don't care if you're running, whatever. There's a part of your mind that's like, I did this to myself. There's a part of your mind that's like, you know what? A couple months ago or a month ago or a couple weeks ago, I could have just went for a jog then, or I could have done this or whatever. You think about all the stuff you could have done. And here's the real thing. This is the part of people understand. Like, I mean, there's people that have cut weight, but when you really, really cut, you're almost looking for every reason not to keep going. Like, you know what, man? I mean, is it really that important? The one that hit you, bro, I'm putting my health on the line for this. Is it even worth it? And you've got those little demons in your ear giving you every reason to stop. And I'm telling you right now, bro, if you've ever had to really, really cut weight and you're down to those last few kilo, not a kilo, not a pound, you're down to those last few kilo and you're like, whoo, this is gonna hurt. You know it's gonna hurt. It feels like it's just you, like, all right, what reason do I need to keep going? Because there's every other reason on this side telling you not to. It is the most lonely feeling. I don't think people understand. It is the most lonely, isolated feeling that you ever have. especially as a strength athlete when you're cutting, because you already know, like, all right, I'm going to be completely depleted. Am I going to be able to recomp quickly enough? Am I going to be able to put on the show that I know that I'm capable of doing? Am I going to let all these people down? I've flown thousands of miles to get to this point. I got money riding on this. I got sponsors riding on this. I got following riding on this. I got clientele riding on this. You got all these things that that are all on this side. Like, you need to chill. You need to chill. And it's literally, you feel like it's just you. I mean, picture yourself in a lonely, dark, hot room with a spotlight on top of you, just by yourself. Like, all right, do I keep going? And then to see that 93 even or anything below that, you're like, all right, we're in here. Then it's like, okay, now that job's done, now how do I recomp to put myself back in the best position? You know what I mean? To go out here and shake shit up. Man, I'm telling you, man, like you you your story's my story. I just it's hilarious, man, because I know those feelings, man. Then again, I need people to understand that feeling. Take us through those last few pounds that you have to cut, that mental anguish that one goes through. Because listen, don't let me tell you. I'm let the world record. I'm gonna let him, because listen, I've cut hella weight, but I can tell you right now, the first thing that takes a hit for me is my squat. So I automatically drop at least 5 to 10, sometimes 15 keys off. So in my head, I'm like, hold on, bro. He's cutting weight. He's making weight with minutes to spare. He's still doing a squat world record. But I also know that squat took a hit. So what the fuck is he really squatting? That's what they all see. You did one of these, and I'm like, hold on, let me read between those lines real quick. Hold on, bro. I know, yeah, you think you slick. But you know what? We're not giving the secrets away right now, so I don't want to worry about that. You know what I mean? I'm not just gonna let that slide by. You know what I mean? I want to let you know you're not slick. But I want to talk to the people. I want you to talk to the people about those about those last few pounds of cut. Like, what goes through your head mentally?
Yeah, so obviously I've had my weight in check for the last, I would say, year or so now. So my cuts haven't been as egregious. But most of my powerlifting career, I was cutting 10 to 12 pounds the night of slash the morning of. I've had so much shit happen. Like, I'm talking about crazy externals that you could have never predicted that you just have to adapt to, right? And at the end of the day, it is what it is. You just take it on and you keep going. But in terms of like being in those moments, it's unique for me because I've been on both sides. I've been on the side where, okay, I have a lot of weight to lose. This is brutal, but then I end up making it. And then I have the same exact scenario, but I don't end up making it. And when you're in that moment, there's a lot of fear, anxiety, but the worst part is it's not even like, am I going to make weight? It's more so like how defeated you will feel if you don't make weight because no one's coming to save you.
That part.
And that's something that, dude, man, like as a man, that has taught me so much. It's such a hard lesson, especially as you get older, because again, I have three younger siblings, beautiful girlfriend. I love my parents. I want to be a provider. I want to be a protector. That's my nature. So when you enter a place, there is nothing you can do anymore. It's over. It's done. You're not good enough. There's nothing. No one can save you. No miracle. No nothing. You are not going to make it. And everything you built up until this moment was wasted because
Facts.
because you're the problem.
Facts.
That's such a hard, heavy lesson to learn as a man, or really as any individual, but especially as a man. And so I've had to deal with that multiple times, and it's my own fault. No, I can't blame anyone else but myself, which honestly sometimes makes it worse because I can't point fingers.
Yep.
And so in those moments, like I will never forget the feeling I had of Reno, Nevada, trying to sweat and lose. Bro, my gut cut, not only did it not work, I gained like a pound or two. So I was cutting from 219 down to 205. And I think I got as close as maybe like 208, 209 or something like that. And dude, man, I tried everything and I will never forget. So the state law was that the sauna couldn't get hot enough. They would not allow the sauna to get hot enough. I didn't know that was a thing. So I'm sitting in this sauna, wasting time, not sweating. Then we go into the steam room. My body started overheating because 5 weeks prior, I had a brutal cut at Sheffield, which luckily I had made it. But
Yeah.
again, it was tough. My body can only take so much. I will never forget the feeling I had of getting into, like, it had to be the hottest fucking thing my skin has ever touched, the hot bath.
Yeah.
And it's steaming. I'm getting in there, I'm burning, I'm barely losing weight. And this was the worst part. So the first round I step on the scale, lost a pound. I'm like, okay, great. And this sucks, but I can keep going. I'll keep
Yeah.
going. I get in the hot bath, brutal. My dad's there, my girlfriend's there, Ray is there, and everyone's just kind of quiet, just like, I mean, you know how somber these moments are, right? It's
Yeah.
brutal. So I get up out of that one, scale went up a pound. I'm like, I don't even know. I don't know. I'm done. And that was such a defeating feeling. And then, of course, walk of shame. You're doing that all the way up until the last minute of weigh-ins.
Yep.
Walk of shame. You go through that whole process. Being in those moments, when you make weight, it's great because that means, like you said, that chapter's done.
Yep.
But at the same time, now it's like I still have to be the number one lifter in human history, not just win this meet. In
Yep.
order to do what I came to do, I have to defeat anyone who's ever come before me in
Yep.
this lift or in this total whatever. And it's I think like I said, for me, especially at this point, I give it to God, but also you just keep moving forward. You almost
Absolutely.
like get angry about it. It's like, a motherfucker, I came here for a fucking reason. I'll be damned if I leave without what
That
I came
part.
for. And it's this like vicious tenacity. Like, you have to be so cutthroat. And in my mind, like, I get so dark in my head where it's like I have to match energy with energy. So if I
Mm-hmm.
have all these demons and all this shit that's like trying to suppress me, like, see, you're tired now. There's no way you're gonna recomp in time. Your legs feel like shit. Your joints feel like shit. I'm still sweating and overheating while I'm putting on my knee sleeves. I'm cramping. I have to come back with, yeah, and guess what? I can hit 3 world records in a row feeling
That
like this.
part.
Fuck you, motherfucker. And
Yup.
all these people around me, fuck these motherfuckers. I'll eat their esophagus and fucking spit on it. Like, I'm gonna go. Like, you got to kind of get that
You gotta
that
match. You
energy.
gotta match that energy. You gotta match your energy against that dark energy. You know what I'm saying? Because there has to be. I don't know. I mean, we're very similar. I have to be at a point of equilibrium when I walk out on that platform. I can't be. Because here's the thing: if I walk out there like I train, bro, I train. I'm goofy, bro. Like, I literally. I'm watching South Park, Family Guy, listening to, what I'm saying, to stand up until my top sets. I'm cracking jokes like crazy, whatever. And I mean, that's really how I train until it's time to get it. When it's time to get it, then, I have to control every. I just get dark, you know what I mean? And it's just, I literally go from cracking jokes to, like, now everything around me that I touch has to die. And but at the same time, I'm like, all right, I gotta. There has to be a point of equilibrium with these dark forces. I can't get too dark because, no joke, if I'm at the point that I normally get, where just emotions are where they usually are when I'm getting ready to go big or whatever, I'm balling. And while, I mean, it was great for me when I played ball. When I played football, like, dude, I would cry the whole game. And I mean, that's fine. I mean, I could take that out on anybody. But there's something about losing. You have to have a bit of mental calm when you're moving crazy weight. It has to. Otherwise, you know what I mean. Like, you're gonna hurt yourself.
You have to be
So
precise.
I have to like hit to this point of, like, all right, everybody's got to die. I get that part, but some people got to live. Like, I gotta, I have to be at a point of I have to match that dark energy with my own energy. Otherwise, man, I'm gonna hurt myself or hurt somebody just because, like, I just see red, dude. Um,
Yeah. Well, the
I
way that not to cut you off, the
No,
way
you
that I
good.
picture it now is two things. Like, one, it's kind of like a sniper. I mean, you could kill almost anybody
Right,
with a bullet in a sniper, right?
right.
But the only way it's effective is if it's precise. And so
Yep,
that requires steady breathing. That requires control.
yep.
And so it's not that you're not powerful, it's that you're precise. And another analogy that I started to use recently was, it's kind of like a fire you want to keep yourself warm with, right?
Right.
If you start a fire and you just let that thing go out of control, it's gonna be destructive.
Set ablaze.
It'll be
Absolutely,
powerful, but purely destructive. But if
absolutely.
you can control it and just contain it and almost manipulate it enough so that it does
Right,
what you want it to do, now you master it. And so
right,
it's not that you're trying to extinguish the fire, and it's not that you're trying to be destructive.
right,
It's this balance of the two. And so the idea is to be at peace. And what I've found is there's different levels of peace. So there's
right.
peace, calm, like bills are paid,
Yeah,
everybody's healthy, everybody's good, you're on the couch. That's
yeah.
peace. But then there's a level of peace of, I have come here to win and to conquer something, and everybody here wants what I want.
Absolutely.
And if I don't win, everything I've ever worked for is all for nothing.
Right.
And so, and I come from a football background as well. And I remember Coach Toll at Bosco, he used to say, like, if you lose, don't go home to your parents. They don't want a loser. And so that's the kind of like, that's that like
Right.
little bit of that dog mentality that you kind of bring into it. And so in my mind, it's like, how do I achieve that sense of peace? For me, the best way to achieve that balance, and this is just my faith perspective, is I give it to him and I trust that he is for me, that he loves me. No matter what happens, I am
Right.
still loved. It doesn't matter. This isn't about strength. This is about grit and effort. And who do you choose to be no matter what comes your way? That's where the real victory happens. And and so when you go in with that perspective, you can't lose. Like you really can't. There's no such thing as failing. The
Right.
only way you fail is if you don't give 110%. So that's how I kind of keep it chill. But dude, it's also like fun. Like it's genuinely fun.
It
When else
is,
in your normal
man.
day to
It
day do you
is.
get to think to yourself like, yo, I'm gonna rip this motherfucker's throat out? Like you don't
Yeah.
get to think like that when you're on the street, right?
No, you
So
don't.
so it's fun in a powerlifting meet when you say, you know what, I'm gonna body 800. I'm gonna body it. I have to. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
it's fun.
No, I think that's probably the most beautiful thing about the sport is that you never stop chasing these goals, man. And it clearly it teaches you your limitations or lack thereof. Um, but at the end of the day, it's like, all right, I know that I walked into the building knowing that all right, I put the best package together possible, and I want to win because I outlifted everybody in this room. I don't want to win because somebody dropped. I don't want to win because somebody didn't have their best day. I want to go home knowing that all right, I put together the best package I could. They all did the same. I was the best man today, and I won. And it may not always be that way, um, but I want to know that I gave everything I could to put myself in the best position to win, and I walked out victorious. And if and when those times happen that I don't walk out victorious, am I able to walk out with my head held high? Okay, that's the hard part because like you start putting these sometimes I definitely put some unreal expectations on myself. You know what I mean? But then I'm like, dude, if I really didn't think I was capable of these of these unreal expectations, would I really put them on myself? You know what I mean? Um, I think that's a hard part. That's always a hard pill to swallow when you really have worked so hard to get to an end result and you get so close to that end result. I mean, high key, I would have rather just gotten completely blown out, gone, 3 for 9, and just be like, hey man, I was just trashed. Then be like, all right, you know what? I bodied everything they put in front of me and I still took an L. Like what? But then probably 5 minutes later, I'm like, you know what though? They saw me. They knew what was up. You know what I mean? So I always, like I said, this last nationals, I know that for me personally, I think that was the best I've seen you lift because of the whole thing in its entirety. You know what I mean? And I didn't know what was going on behind the scenes. You know what I mean? I knew the diet was dialed in. I knew that, you know what I mean, you looked phenomenal walking in the door. You know what I mean? And just little pieces here and there. Sometimes I feel like I'm Stephen A. Smith, the powerlifter, man. Sometimes people tell me like, oh, Gavin, and I'm like, oh, word, okay, so that we're gonna see something dope. And I wasn't disappointed in any form or fashion, but I think the thing that was the most impressive for me, and I said it already, but I'll say it again, was it wasn't from last year to this year. It wasn't Gavin the lifter that I saw walking in there. It was Gavin the man it was everything that you did in totality. The walking in, the greeting everybody, the taking the pictures, the talking to the officials, the ambassador of the sport, the walking like, yeah, I can literally out squat anybody in this room. Let's just be real. But at the same time, there was a sense of calm and such a high level of just. And again, here's the thing: you're not a cocky dude at any form of level, but it was such a just. I don't know, man. Like this might be the most like humble, just chill dude walking off the street. Like I'm just here to live, dude. I'm like, it was great. was great to watch. And like I said, after the meet was over with, this meet you look the most dangerous you've ever looked in my eyes. Um, because number one, you put on a show, but there was still vast room for improvement. Anybody that's a student of the game was like, "Oh, boy's dangerous," and if anybody was going to put on a show, it was going to be you, and you did that. You know what I mean? Not only did you put on a show, but you know what I mean. You also like. It's always weird because it's not. It's never like, oh, I wonder if Gavin's. What is he gonna do? Like people always are like, oh, hey man. But you know what I mean? It's always one of those like, damn, bro. Oh man, Gavin's on something right now. I don't know. That dude's moving different, right? Like it's always weird because I'm like, nah, this dude, you're like always just there. Like you're there. Like it's like okay, it's like don't leave the door open. If you leave the door open, Gavin's gonna kick that hoe out in. You know what I mean? Like that's what it's always like. You know what I mean? Like if Gavin's in the room, you can't just close out. You're gonna have to nail that hoe shut. You're gonna have to lock it. You gotta slide a dresser in front of it because he's gonna find a way. He's gonna kick that door in. You're super dangerous. The only person that I can really think off the top of my head that you remind me of as far as the 93 would probably be Bryce Lewis. Bryce Lewis was one of those types like if you give Bryce a chance, it doesn't have to be a big. You give Bryce this much room, Doc. He's gonna make you pay for it. And you got to put him away. You got to put him away. And then once you think you put him away, you've got to assign a few guards to make sure he doesn't find his way in. Like you're one of those types. Like, dude, if you give him a centimeter, he's gonna find a way to work his way in and put C4 in the middle of that crack and blow it up. Like you thought. You're just so dangerous, man. And there's nothing on the platform. And I think this is my favorite part about you. There's nothing that you do on the platform that's not dangerous. You know what I'm saying? You want to have a squad battle? Shit, let's do it. You gonna lose? Yeah, probably. You want to bench? All right. I might not be benching, you know what I'm saying, 540, 550. I'm going to be up there, though. Don't sleep. You want to pull? Hey, I got something back there. I'm not a subtotal king. I can pull with you, too. That's been crazy to watch. Like, it's just watching the evolution of each lift. You know what I mean? Because, like, that dude's, he's a squatter, bro. Bro's a squatter. I'm like, hold on, I got a little bench on him. Oh, I didn't know you could pull. Like, when you...
Well, and it hasn't always been like that, right?
I know.
And that's the blessing of being in these battles and having this heat, because you're forced to figure it out.
Yeah, you figure out this is what I need to win. So rather than like, all right, I'm gonna lean into my other lifts. Nah, I'm leaning this one that I'm not as good at, and I'm about to show them, what's cracking. I think what got me was that Sheffield boy. Hey, bro came Vikinged out, rode up. I'm like, come on, man, what's he doing? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Yo, got out there, pulled that. I was like, hold on. I mean, hey, we're all in the message. Like, I know y'all saw what Gavin just did. Like, that was nasty, man. And I mean, and again, I'd always been like, yo, this dude is nice, but the Sheffield was when I was like, hold on, bro. Let me go ahead and put his posts on notifications. I need to know what boy's doing because he's moving a little different. It's always fun, man, to watch lifters that you like, but then when lifters you like, when you start watching them evolve, like, hold on, bros, he's not just good now, he's becoming dangerous. You know what I mean? And it's starting to be, there's about, I ain't gonna lie, there's only 5 of you guys. I'll say 6. But in all honesty, it's about 5 of you guys that are the 93s. Like, you have a really good set of 93s. And then you kind of have everybody else. And then you have y'all. And it's like that good set of 93s is doing this, but you guys are doing this. You guys are increasing. It's just weird, man. I'm like, man, I don't even know, man. Like, you know what I mean? And I know for me, for my health, I can't be 105 forever, bro. I can't be 1 because you already know if you're at that weight, then you operate above that weight. Like, bro, what I look like walking around 240, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I look like a melted candy bar, bro. I hate it. You know what I'm saying? So for health, I mean, I'm middle-aged black man, dog. Like, what am I doing? Like, trying to like, I'm literally right now, like, I'm running 40s with the Grim Reaper. Like, no, I can beat you. Like, I'm stupid. So you
It's
gotta
good for
start
the
losing.
snuggles, bro. It's
Nah,
good for the
man.
snuggles.
Nah, yeah, maybe if I'm your age, dog, there's no way. Bitch yourself twice, no way, dude. No way. Like I'm trying to live, dog. So like so like just staring down the barrel, I'm like, oh my god, I gotta cut this weight, you know what I mean? And then I think to myself, like, hold on, bro. I gotta go back down there with them. I don't really want to do all that. Like I just I don't know.
The truth is, it would make you the strongest you've ever been at the leanest you've ever been.
True
That's how I see
story.
it.
Well,
You know what I mean?
here's the dumb things. All of my biggest lifts have been like sub 220, around like 214 to 218. That's all my biggest pull, my biggest squat, my biggest bench. They've all been, like right around like 214 to 214 to 216. It's just that food's so good, my boy. Like food is good, and so I don't know. But I mean I know for my health I have to. I mean, and so I got like 30 grand worth
Small changes though, bro. Small changes. You start like I just ordered a like those walking pads that go under your desk,
Yeah.
and then I found like a $65 shitty like standing stand for my
Yeah.
laptop, so I can just edit my YouTube shit while I'm walking,
Yeah.
just to get more steps in. Just small things like that, bro. Like what kept me at 207, 208 for the last year or so was really making sure that like 2 to 3 times a week, 41 minutes of like steady state incline cardio, and then all the other days are like 15 to 21 minutes. And like my eating wasn't atrocious, but I was eating healthy, eating well, not allowing myself to splurge as much, but I still wasn't super strict. I wasn't tracking, and that still
No, you
kept my
weren't
weight where it
tracking?
needed to be. No,
What?
because bro. But hold
I
on, you make it sound worse than it is. So here's the thing.
I
Here's the
can't.
thing.
Yo, I wish
Here's the thing.
God is
Going
my witness,
into
Gavin. I cannot. Oh my! If I could go without, oh my, yo,
going
let me.
into NAPFs though, right? I was tracking.
Yeah,
But once like I'm big on systems. So like I have an ADD ADHD brain. So I really kind of need routine, otherwise I'm all over the place. So for me, it was so helpful once I figured out, okay, when I eat literally what this looks like. So it's going to be what ends up being like a cut and a half of lean filet mignon. I know what that is macros wise.
yeah,
And then when I do the same thing every single meal, all I have to do is just eat the same fucking meals every single day for a
yeah,
whole year. You know what I mean? Like so I don't have to track because I kind of know what I'm taking in.
yeah. You know what
Only time
range
it
you're
gets
in.
tricky is,
Yeah,
traveling and shit like that.
I'm just weird because I like the numbers. I love looking at the numbers. I love numbers, dog. I love them. So I
Yeah.
tracked it like look at percentages and all that stuff, and I'll get my little sheets and all that. But my thing is, if it's just meals, I'm straight. But them sweets, my boy. Between the sweets, really, it's just the sweets. I ain't gonna front. The sweets are what gets me every time, man. And you know what I mean, like. And when I got a 3-year-old. You know what I mean, like. What I look like,
Yeah.
like, no, baby, let's not get ice cream. Like, come on, man. I'm not trying to be that freaking parent. Like, I mean, I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
look, we have an ice cream drawer, dog. And then, listen, like I said, man, like same way, I grew up with nothing, dude. We grew up with just, both parents working 2 and 3 jobs, still barely covered bills. I mean, that was my life. So I was telling myself, like, boy, if I ever get to where I get a little cheese, I'm getting everything. So like every pair of J's that I buy, healing my inner child, dude. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like every time I put a part of my truck, inner child healing. All these sweets that I'm buying, inner child going crazy. Like
But here's the thing. Hear me out though, right? And I know I can say this to you because I know we're on the same wavelength. Once you reach the point where breaking the world record total, 93 masters, or even in the open,
Yeah.
whatever you prefer. Once you reach the point where that matters more than the ice cream drawer, you'll be good.
yeah.
So you just got to get yourself to that point where you
Yeah.
value
I got to get myself
you
back
value
to
that.
point. So obviously after you got done, you went home, you know what I mean? Took a little time off, I'm assuming. Um, when you went back to the drawing board, again, I don't want to know all the secrets. I don't want people to know the secrets or whatever. But what's some? Give me a few, I guess points. I guess a few points. After because I think any and all great lifters, once you go home, you gotta go back. You look at your drawing board, like, all right, what are some adjustments that one needs to make? Give me a few of those adjustments that off top that you feel like, all right, these are some adjustments I'm gonna make. Going into this next season.
Yeah, so there's a couple major obvious ones. And first of all, anybody who's listening who doesn't do this, absolutely after every single meet, win, lose, draw, doesn't matter. You got to open up a notebook and write down everything, positive and negative. So stuff that really worked, stuff that didn't, and just your general experience, because you're going to use all that stuff moving forward. And there's nothing like a fresh wound. Like you can describe in detail everything. So definitely do that. But yeah, so there's a lot of obvious ones. The macro is taking a lot of time to build, which I haven't done since COVID. So I haven't had the opportunity to take real time off to build. And as you know, the more advanced you get, the longer those macro cycles have to be for you to see progress. And so I've had to make some sacrifices. I'm usually the type where I will eat anything that comes onto my plate. So I will take any opportunity. It's been a little bit of I've been exercising my emotional maturity by saying no to certain opportunities, at least in the interim, just so that I can bet on myself and build into 2026. So that's a big one. Another one, of course, is bench. I truly believe I have the tissue to bench 550. Absolutely. So the fact that I'm still in competition, touching under 500 is unacceptable. So just making sure that we're building a package that makes sense for that. Deadlift, similar situation. There's just no reason why. Like I know I can pull 782. I know I can pull 800. It's just a matter of making sure that everything kind of comes together. And at that level, one little thing, 1 degree off, and everything misses because you have to be precise. And so that's kind of what happened on my third pull. And so even that, going back to the drawing board, making sure that we literally just address every single thing we possibly can, everything from technique to the programming itself, the exposure, everything. So one of the changes that we're making, which I guess would be like a third point, is I haven't done SBD sessions in years. And so I told my coach, I was like, listen, man, I get that there's some drawbacks to this, but I not only want to have the end of my week be an SBD session, I need it to be all primaries on that SBD session.
Oh, you're tripping.
So yeah, so it's been tough days, but honestly, man, I think the payoff's going to be huge.
Yeah.
And it's not that I noticed myself getting tired during the meet. It's just that I found the predictability of my performance wasn't there because, I could say, oh, yeah, middle of the week primary deads, I'm pulling 800. On Saturday primary bench, I'm benching X amount.
Yep.
And on Friday primary squat, I got something. But can I tie it all together when it matters most on the same day?
That part.
And so predictability is more important right now than trying to just blow up every single lift. And I do think if we play our cards right, we can do both at the same time. Another big one is still going to be the squat, man. I hate the fact that I have to rely on a jury to get my squat. Like, I just don't think it's acceptable.
Yeah.
And although I truly believe I am hitting depth, especially when I compare what gets 3 whites for some of these other lifters, I'm not going to name names. What I do know is this, and this is kind of how I break it down. And this is how I recommend any lifter coming up to analyze themselves. Go in with an impartial lens. You don't have to go and say, oh, I'm hitting depth and I'm not. It doesn't even have to be like that. Go in with an impartial lens. What are my advantages and disadvantages given my limb lengths, my levers, all of that stuff? I am, because of the length of my torso and how long my femurs are, I have to squat somewhat upright. So Ashton and I, for example, we actually kind of hit similar depth. If you were to look at Ashton from the side, he's not like, people think he's going crazy deep, and there's nothing against him. No. He's not burying it. What's happening is because of his short torso, he's able to hinge more. So as he lowers himself, his torso is touching his thighs practically. So it looks like it's crazy depth.
He has a very
and that's great for him.
Exactly.
And so same thing, like Russ is a similar example, though less extreme. So you have guys like that, but then you have guys like Anatoly, who, again, another upright squatter. You look at his back, he's hyperextended almost the whole time.
Yeah.
So for him, it'll look a little bit higher. So you just have to know these things and make those tweaks. And so squat depth is something that we're looking at. Programming variables in general for squats, bench, and deadlift. And then body weight stuff, recovery stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, my best performances up until this last nationals have been when, I have more weight on me and I cut down. But bro, like, I totaled 8, and this is nothing great. I'm not saying this to gloat. It's just the reality. I was able to total like 891 with a 727 deadlift. So to me, which that is 4 kilos below what won worlds last year, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, to me, the body weight situation, I think I'm getting even closer and closer to just let me eat well, eat healthy, be extremely disciplined, get my steps in. And honestly, if I can come in at 200, I'll come in at 200.
Yeah. Just
So
yeah.
that's something that, yeah, that's a change that I'm thinking about making. Um, let's see. Mindset wise, there's some subtle shifts that we want to make. I mean, even attempt stuff too. Like, deadlifts is it's tough, especially as a conventional puller. Deadlifts take a lot out of me. So my previous strategy was always opener is basically a last warm up.
Hmm.
Second attempt is essentially something that I could pull even if I'm destroyed.
Yeah.
And then third attempt is whatever we need. And it sucks to be in that position, but at the same time, if I take 750 for a second, I may not have the gas for 782.
True
Whereas
story.
if I take that 730, the chances of me having more gas for that third
Yeah.
is there. And so I think building up my body's ability to endure more heavy sets is going to be really important.
Absolutely.
So we're taking that into consideration. Yeah, I mean, outside of that, everything else is kind of just like minor stuff.
Yeah.
The biggest one is just the time off, dude, because I have never since COVID, since like basically 4 or 5 years now, I haven't taken 8 months off, a year off,
No,
to just train.
it's. I mean, you're preaching to the choir. This is my first time, bro. Even after surgery, like I literally was within 5 months. I was like, all right, I'm going to Worlds. Like, who does that? Um, I mean, I didn't really have to. I mean, it was based off of just my previous world wins. Like, well, you're the number one going in, so we'll just bring you over. This year, I'm really considering. I mean, I've kind of already told everybody I don't think I'm going to go. I think this is going to be my for real. I'm taking at least a year off. Um, Focusing more on the health, focusing more on just having fun with the training. Like I haven't put a bar on my back yet. Just I feel like I'm in like a lower bodybuilding session. Just like I haven't had a crazy pump on my lower body probably in 2 years. So it's crazy. Like that feeling like, bro, I can't even walk. Not because I've squatted a ton. It's because like I've been doing leg extensions and leg curls. Like, girl, my hamstrings are wrecked. You know what I mean? Like I'm in this whole doing like pistol squats and one leg RDLs and all this. I'm like, dude, what am I doing? But I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm loving it. I've never done so much booty work in my life, dude. Like, who am I right now? So, like, just little things like that. That I totally get it. I think we should definitely normalize people taking off periods, people taking time off, actually having legitimate off seasons. I think the way the sport is geared right now, we're such a what have you done for me lately type mindset in the sport that people don't understand. Like, with any good thing, everything takes time. And so, the normalization of, hey, if you happen to get a meet or two in every couple years, that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I know people want to see a ton of powerlifting meets going on, but I mean, there's a lot of great lifters out there, but I mean, the best lifters, they're not lifting, 4 and 5 times a year. The frequency to be able to lift at the highest level, some people can do it, but not everybody can. And there's a reason why, people start seeing a lot more people getting hurt because, I mean, there's just all this external pressure, like, oh, you need to do more, you need to do more, you need to do more. But not realize, like, hey, dude, I'm doing stuff that you definitely can't do. You're asking more for me. What have I done for you lately? Like, how about you just let me breathe for a second? So, I feel like there should be more pressure in normalizing lifters actually taking off seasons. And not an off season isn't necessarily, time in between meets, an actual off season. So the fact that you are, willing to take an off season and willing to take breaks, and like, I think that's going to be very beneficial for, for your mental health. Two, just to, get away from all of it and actually be able to go to the lab and stay in the lab for a little bit and come out a different beast.
Yeah. Well, it's also too, just not to cut you off, but it's also too like you can do a bunch of meets, but you have to think about what the purpose of those meets are.
Big
If
facts.
each meet you do, you're trying to go guns blazing and go all out, it may not make sense. And my perspective is this: I will not skip a nationals. I will not skip a Sheffield. I will not skip a championship
That part.
for the sake of building. Because my job as an athlete, I signed up for this. So my job as an athlete, if you were in any other sport, you don't get to just take off during the finals. It doesn't work like that. You have to show up. So if you are a power lifter, if this is what you do, unless
Right.
there's some sort of severe external circumstances, which are understandable,
Yeah.
you better fucking show up. I don't care, like genuinely, and I know this might piss some people off. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I truly do believe if you're considering yourself a champion or a great athlete, then you need to show up. Even if you don't plan on maxing out. So if you went to Sheffield, you had a great total, you need to go to nationals, even if you don't want to max out. Just you have to show up because
Yeah,
it's the principle. And so to me, it's like if it was a local meet coming up, to me, it's like, okay, what makes more sense? But if it's nationals
because
versus worlds or
yeah,
Sheffield, even, it's like these are championship meets.
yeah,
I have an obligation to what I've
yeah.
committed
That's always
myself
kind of
to
been
show
my.
up.
It's hard for me because I don't I never I. It's hard for me to get behind like all right well you did awesome in Sheffield, you don't have to go to nationals. I mean, I would view it as this. I feel like the Sheffield is like an all star game, right? It's a baller ass all star game. But you don't skip a championship for the all star game. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like usually it's the other way around. Um, it always kind of sucks not seeing your best athletes, not seeing your best of the best show up. You know, because they went to the Sheffield. Ah, well, they did enough at the Sheffield. Well, that's fine. You know, it's fine. All right, you've done kind of what you said. You've done what you've done at the Sheffield. You put up a crazy total at the Sheffield. Odds are you put up a world record. All right, fine. Well, then you know what? If they can't beat it, they can't beat it. But I mean, it's not like you're going to be penalized for going to nationals and like showing up like, ah, you know what, dude, you squatted, you squatted 850 at Sheffield. Fine. You come to nationals, you only squat 800. You squat 755. People don't necessarily care about the number, but they care about seeing that person there. And you're gonna have more butts in the
Correct.
stands to watch.
It's not the performance, it's the
It's
presence.
the
It's the
presence.
message
Yeah,
you
it
send.
make
It's a
and
principle, yeah.
and that's the crazy thing because I mean, when you do have your top athletes show up, it makes it far more memorable. And I mean, people just have a great time. Even if they only, like you said, they might go up there and only do 2 attempts. Fine, you did 2 attempts. But I guarantee you, when you go up and you do those 2 attempts, there's gonna be 3,000 cameras like, oh shit, you see him? You know what I mean? Like they don't care. They just want to see their favorite lifter. And we're still at a point in our sport where, you know what I mean? Like my favorite lifters, my Superman, my Wonder Women, they're there. I have access to them. You know what I mean? Like, if you tell me right now, like, hey, bro, you could go see LeBron James, do a layup drill tomorrow. Shit, I'm there. You don't have to tell me twice. Like, I get to see LeBron James. Do I get to shake his hand? Yeah. Can I take a picture with him? Yeah. Yeah, I'm there. So, for them to be like, hey, Gavin's gonna be at this at Nationals. Oh, say word. Yeah, we're gonna go. You know what I mean? Like, Jonathan's gonna be. Oh, we're gonna be. Peachy's gonna be. Oh shit, we're gonna go. Like, they want to see their favorite athletes. Having the opportunity to see your favorite athlete, take a picture with them. You know what I mean? Like, buy some merch off of them, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it strengthens the bond between but it really strengthens the bond between all lifters when you have your favorite people there. But for them to be like, well, you know what? He might show up, but he's probably not going to come because he already went to the All Star game and murked. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you already got the bread. You know what I'm saying? Like, just come. You know what I mean? Like, get the sponsor to pay for it. You know what I mean? Like, they'll bring you down. You'll go and you know what I mean? You put up a solid total. It doesn't necessarily reflect on the big total that you put up at Sheffield, and you can go and have a good time. Like and I think a lot of it, I think people miss the point of it's not just about the lifting is one thing, but the presence is another, and the fact that it's supposed to be fun, and it's way more fun when there's more hands on deck than like, man, I wish so and so would have come. Like, could you imagine how I would have been if you know what I mean? So I do agree. I really like that analogy. Like, you don't. I mean, it's a championship. You know what I mean? And like, why would you skip it? Damn, I'm gonna have to keep that in the back of my head, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have to.
Well, and
Oh.
it's tough too because like I get it. I think powerlifting is always this balance of like the animal brain and the strategic brain, right?
Yeah,
It's like, okay, what makes the most sense versus what does your gut tell you?
yeah,
And to me, it's not even about the strategy. I think when it comes to something like nationals, worlds, um, you know, when you're a power lifter, it's a small world. There are people, like you said, who are looking up to, who are learning from you.
mm-hmm.
And some people like to have this perspective, look, I'm not a role model. It's not my responsibility. I have a completely different perspective.
Right,
In my opinion, it's like life is not fair. Sometimes you are given things.
right,
And yes, because it's a gift, if you want to appreciate and be grateful for it, you have to exhaust it. You
absolutely,
have to use it. And one of those gifts might be the fact that, yeah, you're one of the best in the world.
yeah,
And so that comes with responsibility. With great power comes great responsibility. And
absolutely,
so because of that, I just think one of the ways you embody it is by showing up.
Showing
And
up.
like I said, you may not do 100%, that's okay. But what are you teaching everyone
Yeah.
when you're saving yourself for something? It's like, well, is that what a champion would do? Is that how you would carry yourself? Like, I don't know. And like I said, it's not to speak down on anybody who makes that choice. It's just like I said, in my opinion, I
Yeah.
think that you also owe it to the people who believe in you, support you,
Absolutely.
follow you, to show up, if nothing else, then for them. Like I really do think it was awesome that I think Russ was at
Yeah.
nationals, and I know he didn't compete, but like he showed up and
Yeah.
he shook hands, and I think that that's a great first step.
Right.
Like I think that's awesome. I think everybody should show up. I like I said, I would like to see everybody compete, especially if they have intentions of competing at Worlds,
Yeah.
having done Sheffield.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's one thing that might end up changing. As far as maybe they'll figure out a way to maybe with the IPF calendar changing. I guess how it's going to be changing in the future, where it's just more. It's less taxing on the athlete's body because it's spaced out in a way that you can do your national championship and perform at the best of your ability, and you can do Sheffield, and you can go to Worlds and not just be wrecked. That's for me, that's the biggest thing, is just not putting yourself in a position that you hurt yourself, but also being able to put yourself in a position that you're able to really share your gift with everybody. So that's
Yeah.
a huge thing for me. I'm gonna get out of here, bro. I'm gonna ask you these last
No,
few
you're
questions,
good. You're
man,
good, man.
because
You're good.
we've been talking, man, way more than I thought we would. I'm just gonna chop it up. You know what I mean? But I
No, dude,
should
I
know.
love this. This
Nah,
is
dude,
this is my element.
this
I'm
is
grateful to
great.
be here
I
with you.
mean,
So
because my biggest thing is, like, I mean, like, most people that watch, you know what I mean, they already know your story. They know that, you know what I mean, that you're a monster. They know that you're a good dude. But also, like, I think a lot of people like myself are kind of wondering, when you like a person, when you like what they stand for, and when you like what they do in the sport, you mean, like, you start, what's the you I mean, in it could be a watered down version, it could be a major version, but you care for them, and you care for the well being, for the mental health, and you always want, like, dude, how are they doing? I wonder how they're doing. And so in my head, I'm like, you know what, man, let me reach out, let me make sure dude's good. I mean, you were in good spirits, you know what I mean, last time I talked to you, and but at the same time, like, if you care for a person, and and you really want to see how they're doing, like, you're gonna come back and check on them. I'm just nosy, so I'm like, all right, you know what, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna tell everybody else about it, but rather than me doing it, I'll just let you do it. So that was part of the reason, like, I just want to check on how you're doing and everything. And like I said, you've been one of my favorite lifters for a long time now, and I just really enjoy watching you lift, and how much you lift people up. Like I said, how you breathe life into people, and and if ever there's a person that people really want to know, like, hey, I wonder what he's doing now, you're one of those. And I mean, while our sport is growing, I mean, there's very few outlets that you can find out how a person's doing, you know what I mean? So I'm like, dude, I guess I'll be one of those. I'll figure out how to get the word out there.
absolutely.
But we'll get to the questions, my boy, because those are my favorites. We will go question one.
Okay. And I want to prepare you. I intentionally did not prepare myself for any of these, so I can give you like off the rip answers.
Okay, that's all right. That's a bet. So you guys know I always ask these three questions. The first question, of course, is if you were stuck on a deserted island, what were the three things that you would bring with you? Okay. The second one is, who is on your Rushmore? I mean, now the Rushmore could be your lifting Rushmore, your life Rushmore, whatever. And then the third is, if you got trapped in an alley, gun to head, and the guy told you the only way you get out of this alley is you got to sing 15 seconds or give me 15 seconds of a song. Could you do it? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, then you got to perform that song. So those are our three questions. We've been doing this since, dude, forever. So anybody's like, oh yeah, who's your Rushmore? That's not a trend. I've been doing this for way before that. So you need to chill. You can Google me. I'm on it. So, first question. Stuck
Yep.
on a deserted island. What are three things you would bring with you, and why? You're on.
Tough one. I've always been terrible at these, so I'm gonna say the first one because I'm the type of guy where it's like, well, can I do this? Can I do that? So I'm gonna say the first one, of course, is gonna probably have to be my Bible,
All
Bible
right.
for sure, because
Okay.
I'm gonna need it. I'm gonna need it if
I'll
I'm
be
stranded.
fast.
um, after that, something that I can use to start a fire with. So probably, like I forgot what it's called. I used to be in the Boy Scouts, but it's like the flint and steel thing
Yeah,
or whatever. We
flint
used to
rock.
use that shit all the time. So something like that. And then this might be super impractical, but like just one of the heavy duty knives I can fucking bring.
Yeah,
So I can maybe do a little bit of hunting, maybe build a shelter or
yeah.
two, something like that. Um, that would probably be the three. As terrible as it sounds, the Bible's a little impractical. It would be nice to kind of throw in something that might help my survival, but I feel like I'm going to stick with it. So we're
Yeah,
going to go
no, I
those
mean, yeah,
three.
I mean, well, there's I mean, you have entertainment, reading, faith, so you'll be locked in that way. I mean, then you'll have shelter and fire. You know what I mean, and you'll be able to eat. So I mean, as far as the basic necessities, all basic necessities are covered. Um, I mean, I've had people say, yeah, I'll bring a what one's like, I'll bring a satellite. What did you say? I bring a satellite, um, solar panel, and my laptop. I'm like, nice. But I mean, but are you gonna eat? How you gonna eat? Like you're gonna Google how to eat? Like I don't know. No, I'm with those. I'm with those. That's. I feel like all of those are necessities, man. I mean, yeah. Low key, I would definitely need my Bible for sure. I would definitely need that because yeah, I'm like legit.
Bro, Amazing Grace, that song was basically written because of that exact situation.
Yup.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? So that's
There you
it
go.
worked for him.
No, dude, yeah, okay. So we're gonna use that. I like, yeah, we'll cut and print that one. I'm with that. I'm not mad at that one. All right, so we got your whys. Okay, so now we're on to the Rushmore. Who would be on your Rushmore and why? Like I said, it can be lifting, it can be life, it can be whatever. Bro, these are always hard.
Okay.
These are
This is
always
this
hard.
is
These are
this
always hard.
I'm almost kicking myself for not preparing for it because I
No,
want
this
to
is the
give good
thing
answers.
though. I mean, when you go
But
off the cuff, it's funny when people go off the cuff because then like you can literally hear like their thought process because you got to think it out loud.
no, 100%. All right. So how many is Rushmore though? Is it four?
Four.
It's four, right? Okay, so this is again kind of corny, kind of cringy, but I gotta say it. Jesus, that would be
Okay.
sick.
Right.
That'd be sick. I almost like equate this to like I've gotten asked in interviews before, like, okay, three people that you're gonna have dinner with, who are they? And anybody from
Okay.
history. Yeah. So Jesus got to be one of them.
Okay.
And I think that's pretty obvious for me. But okay, after that, let's go with the powerlifting one. Um, so this is just my thought process right now. I Ed Cohen is probably one of the greatest to ever do it,
Big facts.
right? However, I don't know if I could put him on the Rushmore. I think for me personally, I'm gonna have to actually put this is kind of maybe out of left field, but I think I'm gonna put Ashton Ruska on the
Okay.
Rushmore. And the reason why is because there are a few people, Dawson Wyndham, Ashton Ruska, Sean Noriega, and Russell Orhe. Those are the main guys who got me into powerlifting, who like I saw were powerlifting. I was like, okay, this is a thing.
Yeah.
So, but Ashton, though, especially when I first started, he was the only motherfucker who was putting like 800 pounds on his back, taking it down and up. He was the only one who was doing all of that while getting his like, I'm pretty sure he got a PhD, a doctorate in psychology.
Yep.
He's served the country, um, and he's a fucking unit. He's
Yeah.
jacked to beyond belief.
He's Captain
So,
America, bro. People sleep.
dog,
He's legit
people
Captain America.
100%. The kids these days don't know. So
They have no
I
clue.
kind of have to put him on there. Like my squat shoes, the gray Reeboks, I bought those when I was younger specifically because that's what he was using at that time.
Hey
So
yo.
for me, and I'll never forget this. This is a cute little story, and then we'll move on to the next two. I'll never forget this. When I lost to Keiko by a pound at my first Open Nats, where we met, I had the opportunity to go to Junior Worlds, right? And because of COVID, the whole USBI thing, whatever, and we didn't really know what was going to happen. Ashton Ruska reached out to me. It's the first time I ever, I think, shared any words with him. I'm pretty sure. He reached out to me. Long story short, he basically told me, he's like, look, man, if you get this opportunity, I hope you seize it because you're very talented and I want to see you do it. I want to see you go all the way with it. And when I
Wow.
tell you, I was actually sitting in this exact spot when I read
Wow.
that and I teared up. And it was like the first confirmation since starting my powerlifting journey. This young kid who wants to be a world champion, believes he can do it. It was my first confirmation that maybe I can do it. you know. And it's kind of like I said to you before, like every now and then you get those moments, those cookies in the jar where somebody breathes into you a little bit, and he probably didn't even know that's what he was doing, but that's how I received it. And so I have to put him up there. So Ashton's up there, and obviously he's a world champion, phenomenal lifter. So Ashton's gonna probably be my power thing. And then oh man, the next two is that's so tough. I might so I'm a big fan of like Marcus Aurelius, you know,
Yeah,
Aristotle, Alexander the Great, those guys.
yeah.
It's challenging for me to choose between those three, but I'm gonna have to say Marcus Aurelius for a
I'll give you
Rushmore.
that. I will definitely give you
Yeah,
that one.
I'm gonna have to do that one. And then and then the final. This is really tough. Damn. Okay. Let me think. Let me think. Fuck.
Listen,
See,
every
so
time.
half of me, bro, half of me wants to do like one of the founding fathers, like a George Washington or something like that. But I don't know history well enough to know what kind of
Yeah,
guys these guys were. Um, and I would say somebody like Arnold. Like I looked
yeah,
up to Arnold so much, but his personal life and how he
yeah,
handled things there, I can't. I'm sorry.
yeah.
So that kind of eliminated him from that. But oh fuck, man. I mean, I feel like we're doing pretty good so far, though. I'm
Yeah,
actually proud of
it's
myself.
just it's hard because like you always watch people like mentally box themselves in a corner when they get to that
Yeah.
last one. The first one is always like, all right, I'm good. The second one, like, all right, I'm straight with that one. The third one, like, got to put a little more thought into that one. And that fourth
And
one,
the
oh,
fourth
I
one,
really
bro.
have one left.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm running through like every historical figure I can think of right now. Um, let me let me go with. Oh man. See, I want to say like a Ben Franklin or but I just don't know the history well enough to know if like these are individuals that were at their peak. Like I kind of want to say Abe Lincoln because two of my favorite quotes are from him. One of them, my grandfather on my dad's side, he quizzes me every single time he sees me. And the quote is, "Good things may come to those who wait, but only the things left by those who hustle." And for whatever reason, he believes that came from Abe Lincoln. So Abe's that one. And then there's also another quote that I grew up on. The best way to predict your future is to create it.
Ooh,
And that I'm pretty sure came from Abe Lincoln.
oof.
And again, don't know the history super, super well. But from what I do know, majority is positive, and he created a lot of real cultural shifts and change for the
Yeah,
country, for all, and that takes balls.
true story.
So I kind of I'm gonna go Abe Lincoln for this fourth one.
Okay.
I think that's okay. I think we'll, yeah.
I mean, it's your Rushmore. Like no one
I
can
know,
like how are they like how can anyone hate on your personal Rushmore?
but here's the thing, bro. Because from an athletic perspective, George St. Pierre. Do you know who George St. Pierre is?
Yeah, I know GSP is.
Bro, in my opinion, in terms of well-rounded from like the character of an individual to athlete, I feel like look, he's not perfect, nobody is, but
Yeah.
he's up there. So it's so hard. But at the same time, what kind of asshole are you to pick, two athletes in your Mount Rushmore? You know what I mean?
I mean, you can
Fuck,
pick.
that's
It's
tough.
yours, bro. Like, why would you not? You know what I mean? Like, my thing is,
Mm,
Rushmores can be whatever you want. If your Rushmores are like, you know what I mean? Like, these are the people that I look to that on a daily. I can look at my Rushmore, like, yes, let's go get
okay.
it. You know what I'm
All right,
saying?
so in that, then GSP. Then GSP for sure.
Absolutely, I couldn't hate on GSP. Like, you know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Because like, I would probably put Anderson Silva in mine. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like, GSP is, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, French Canadian. Aside from that, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the only thing I can hold against him. Like, GSP is that dude. And he's like forever gonna like. He's literally GSP is like. I'm trying to think of GSP. Who would be GSP in powerlifting? Like
it's not that easy in powerlifting to find
nah,
somebody
dude.
like
Because
that.
like GSP is like, he's not only like your favorite fighter, but he's also your favorite fighter's favorite fighter. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's a good way to put it.
Like he's not. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Like if he were fighting today, he would be doing numbers, like stupid numbers. I just he was literally on the way out as like it really started hitting that rise. Like I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like nah.
Who was yours? Who was yours when you've done this?
Oof. I mean, mine's changed so many times, dude. Like my my personal, like it mine is so bad and I'm so weird about it. I have a personal and then I have a lifting. Like with my personal, I mean, that's my mom, my dad, my best friend Jay, you know what I mean, and my I guess my wife. That's easy. But like
Yeah.
with powerlifting, bro, it would be David Ricks. It would be Brad Gillingham. Um, David Ricks for obvious reasons. You know what I mean? Brad Gillingham, because Brad Gillingham was really the first. If ever you think about it, he kind of was the first legit powerlifting superstar that kind of got us into the whole sponsorship era and everything. Like the dude, to my knowledge, is the only powerlifter I know that had. He was sponsored by GNC, my boy. When GNC had a chokehold on, you know what I mean? He's pulled 800 over 100 times in competition. Like, even now, if you saw the guy, he looked like Colossus. Like when the first time I met him, like, dude, you're not real.
Wait, what's his name? Dude, you're gonna hate me, but I've actually never, and no disrespect to the man, I've never heard of him. Dude, so what's his name?
Brad Gillingham.
Brad Gillingham.
He is one of the greatest that ever did it.
Oh, I see what you're talking about.
Ed, obviously Ed. I mean, and then my last one probably would be. Oh, that's hard. My last one, probably Gene Bell.
Tough, dude.
Yeah, my last one would probably be Gene Bell.
Gene is a savage, dude.
Dude, I was real fortunate, man. Is like when I started, I did. I mean, I'm just weird like that. I always do like this crazy insane amount of research prior to getting into anything, and so I dug through the crates crazy before I got into the game, and those are the names that always kept popping up. And when I made my first world team, I was actually on a team with Brad Gillingham, and it was like one of his last world championship teams he was on, and I just remember like shaking his hand. I'm like, yo, this is a grown man, dude. Like we were in the middle of Russia. In the middle of Russia, I'm like, yo, this is the crazy. Like we're in the middle of Suzdal, Russia, man. I think that's the last time that the IPF was even involved with Russia. And dude, he was this otherworldly, this like larger than life character, man. He was the nicest guy I've ever met, man. Like I don't know. He really like. That was like probably the first person I ever met. I'm like, yo, this guy is honestly probably, at that point, he's probably one of the people that were bigger than powerlifting. You know what I mean? Like, he was like Ray before Ray. He was like that dude, and just oh man, just an amazing guy. But yeah, like I mean, I could probably put Ray on my Rushmore also. But I mean, Ray's one of my boys, so I'm like, I mean, do you really put your homeboy on there? You know what I mean, like it's home cooking.
Yeah.
But yeah, those would probably be the ones on my. I mean, and obviously with Ed. I mean, Ed's been one of those like throughout from the time that I started till present day. I'll get a message from Ed. I'll get a DM from Ed. Just you know what I mean. Just he's always super encouraging. Just really, he's always made me feel like I belong in the sport. When other people made me feel like I didn't. Like Ed was always one of those that made me feel like I belonged. In the same way with Gene, I have a relationship with Gene now. You know what I'm saying? And so it's Gene's a Texas guy, so I mean I get to see Gene all the time. But Gene's kind of my blueprint. Is like, all right, dude, when I'm done with the game, I'm gonna try to keep giving back as much as I can. But yeah, like my Rushmore is always, I'm so greedy and weird and petty about mine. Like I have to have a personal and I have to have a powerlifting one because
It's because you care, bro. It's because you care.
Nah, it's just because I'm so indecisive, dude. I can't, you know what I mean? Like you're far more decisive than I am. You know what I mean? And that's why you look like you look and I look like I look. Let's be real. You know what I mean? Let's just, so my discipline kind of sucks even with my decision making. And then the final question. We're down to it, and then we got to get them out of here.
This is the one.
This is the one. This is the one. Like, no joke, dude. I've really had people DM me, hey man, could you get so and so because I want to hear them sing. Like, what? What are we talking about? Like, people just ask questions. If you and your lady, you're out having a nice night. You know what I'm saying? You take her to the city. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I know a guy that knows a guy. I'm gonna take you to this nice little spot. It's very, very exclusive. You know what I mean? It's just gonna be me and you. Like, all right, cool. You have a nice little dinner. Really nice. She's like, you know what? I love you. I can't believe you took me out there. No, I've never known a guy that treat me so well. You're like, yeah, baby, I got it like that. Let's go ahead and head back. All right, cool. We're gonna take care of. No, I got a limousine. We're gonna hop in a limo real quick. You're on your way. Boom, you get stopped. Dude's like, hey, run your wallet, run your pockets.
Yep.
I want all your ladies' jewelry. You're not getting out this alley alive. Like, yo, wait, we can reach an agreement, sir. The only way you guys are getting out of this is you got to perform a song, 15 seconds worth. Do you know a song? And your answer is?
The only one I think I could get like 5 to 10 seconds out of is "Lose Yourself" by Eminem.
So, the only way you and your lady are getting out of this alley, unscathed, untouched, unbothered, and the only way to get to this limo is you got to go 15 seconds or lose yourself.
Look.
Wait, hold on.
Look.
We got to get it. We got to get it right. So the timer is coming out, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, shit.
If he makes
We're going to time this.
15.
Uh-oh. Let's do it. Fuck it. Let's run
15 seconds. He's on, and your time starts now.
Look, if you had one shot, one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it? Ooh. Would you just let it slip?
Ooh.
Yo, his palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti, he's nervous, but on the surface he looks calm and ready to drop bombs. But he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd grows so loud. He opens his mouth, but the words won't come out. He's choking how? Everybody's joking now. The clocks run out. Time's up. Over blouse. Snap back to reality. There goes gravity. There goes gravity. Choke. He's so mad, but he won't go back. Oh, fuck, I forgot.
No, you made it. Hold on, you're good. You're good. My friend, you made it 40 seconds. You made it 40 seconds through it all. So not only do you make it out, I owe you money now. Now I got to pay for the limo. So you did it. You're successful. You get out. Now you got an amazing story to tell everybody when you get back home. Like, yeah, we went out. This dude tried to assault us, and I had to rap my way out of it because I'm that street. So, Gavin Adin, my man. I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. I appreciate this conversation that we've had more than you'll ever know. I've gotten some gems just from listening to you, talking to you. I have no doubt in my mind, and I'm telling you straight up, man, this is from the heart. I have no doubt in my mind that you will be a champion. That goal is definitely at the end of the rainbow. You gotta keep chasing it, man. The cool thing about, because I've been there, the cool thing about the journey to get into that end goal, man, is that you get to enjoy the journey. You know, unwarranted, unsolicited advice, man. The one thing that I will advise you is I need you to fall in love with the journey more than anything else. Fall in love with this journey, because there's gonna come a time you're like, yo, I don't want to do this. I'm tired, whatever. And honestly, it won't be discipline that'll get you through. I swear to you, it won't be discipline. It won't be motivation. It'll just be that genuine love that you have for doing what you do that'll get you like back in the gym, just going. I feel like you can dot every I, you can cross every T, and I mean eventually you'll get there. But I want you to take that time to enjoy it a little bit more, so that it makes it that much more sweet. Because that's what's gonna get you to that next level. Because I feel like you're gonna do all the things that you need to do to get there. But you know what I mean. Just from just listening to you, how detailed you are about things, how passionate you are about things, man. I don't want you to lose sight of that love that you have for it. Because it's easy to when you're like focused on the journey. I've no doubt that you're going to be a champion. You know what I mean. Like you're going to be probably one of the first, to my knowledge. You'll probably be able to sweep all 3 categories when you're a champion. You know what I mean? Like that's gonna be crazy. Because I do feel like you have the build to be a 550 plus bencher. I do feel like you have the build to pull 800 plus. You definitely have the build to squat 800 plus. I mean, I could definitely see you in a few years like, oh shit, dude, he's got the world record bench, squat, and pull. Like the total bananas. I feel like you'll be one of the first, if not the first, to go 10 times body weight at 93. I feel like a lot of these things are that close.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I think you probably will be one of the first that smiles all the way through it. You know what I mean? Like that's gonna be crazy. I think you're gonna make it look effortless. And it's just a matter of time. You know what I mean? So between then and now, just you know what I mean, fall in love with the journey just a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna happen, but you know what I mean? Like love it just as much, man. Because I think that honestly might be the missing piece, to be 100 with you. Because I mean, you got everything else. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, but you're also a technician. You know what I mean? And in being a technician, sometimes nothing else matters but just making sure that you get everything done. You know, and we forget that small thing about, hey man, maybe I should laugh and crack up a little bit and love a little bit and cry a little bit while I'm doing this. Because I'm telling you, it's important. It's important, especially in this game. Because it's a lonely game, man, when you're really trying to do it, especially when you're the 1% of the 1%. You know what I mean? Because you can't have a training partner who can do what you do. Nobody. You know what I mean? So and I've noticed that a lot of your work is starting to be solo work. And it's not because, you know, sometimes it's not because you want it to be. It's just because who you going to train with? Who's doing what you do? Nobody. And who knows what it feels like to be in that upper echelon of lifters, of competitors? Not really a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like they can tell you what they think it's like, but they've never been there, dude. No one's been at the top of the mountain. You know what I mean? It's hard. You know what I mean? So I've seen you doing that trench work, man. That's gonna pay off. That trench work it's of paramount importance, but people also understand like it's a lonely job. But again, that's why Lions really roll solo, bro, because it's hard. It's not for everyone. You know, there's reason why there's lone wolves. There's reason why a lot of, you know, male lions, you know, roll solo, because, you know, I mean, you're in rarefied air. You're doing things that, you know, at this point you're training with weight that people have never even seen, like, done for 1 RMs, you know, at Worlds. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not gonna let that weight cut. I'm not gonna let that slip through the cracks. I know. You know what I mean? Like, people don't understand, like, you know, they get to see the polished product of the weight, you know, of the work you've been doing, but they don't know, like, hey man, I've been doing some bonkers banana stuff at the crib. You just get to see the final product. I'm proud of what you've done, dude, up to this point.
Thank you.
I think it's just a matter of time before everything falls in a line, man, and they really get to see, like, oh, this is that dude. This was, you know, Nationals was a great. I think it was a great coming out party for you, for people to see, like, oh shit, this is what Gavin can do when it's all put together. You know what I mean? Like, you had a good meet. You know what I mean? You didn't have the meet that you wanted, but you had a really, really good meet. You know, and you had one of those meets where, like, you know what, dude, I can appreciate everything that Gavin put together. You know what I mean? And I can appreciate the work that you put in. I can appreciate the detail that was taken. I can appreciate how meticulous and how on point you were with every single thing, because it showed when you got on the platform. You know, I can do that without taking away that, you know, Jonathan had the meet of his life. But here's the thing. You're at that point in your career now that in order for people to beat you, in order for people to win, they have to have meets of their lives. That makes you super dangerous. In order for you to win against Jonathan, people like that, you have to have a meet of your life. So the best man has to show up every single meet. That's how I say that you're in your rarefied air, because not everyone can do that. You know what I mean? Like, you literally have to put up a world record performance every single time you step on a platform in order to get a dub. Bro, if that's not top level shit, I don't know what is. Like, you're there. You're that dude. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy to say that class of 93s, there's 2 or 3 of you guys that are literally him. You know what I mean? That's insane. But the fact that no matter what, your dead might not be where it's at, but you're always within striking distance. Bench might not be where it needs to be, but guess what? You're always in striking distance. Bro, that's literally Himothy, bro. Like, there's only 2 or 3 you guys that can do that in this world. So, yes, do I feel like you can be a champion? Hell yeah. I mean, if that, If that 727 turns to a 750, we're talking a different story altogether. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy within striking distance. And let's be real, 750 and 730 feel damn near the exact same. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to see what you do. I think I'm more excited to see how many people did you affect, how much community that you continue to build, and how big of an ambassador for the sport that you become. I mean, because you just grown and grown and grown and grown. And I think that's been the cool thing. People are not just recognizing you as a lifter, they're recognizing you as a leader, as an ambassador, as a face of the sport. You're already down, you're one name now, bro. That's legendary. That's legendary. There's a lot of, Peter Pauls and all that stuff around here, but you know what I mean? There's you say Gavin, they know exactly who you're talking about. That's crazy. It's like you drop, Dawson. I'm like, yeah, well, say Dawson, they know exactly what you're talking about. You drop one name, people know exactly what they're talking about, and you're that guy now. And that doesn't happen overnight. That's work. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate the effort. I appreciate what you bring to the sport. I appreciate the maturation as a man. I appreciate you giving back. I appreciate you being vulnerable. And more than anything, I appreciate you being willing to show people that champions aren't just born, they're made. They're built. And it takes time. And they get to follow your journey and see, like, this is, my favorite lifter wasn't always a champion. He worked himself into being a champion. I mean, and you give people an opportunity to watch it and follow it, man. And I think those are the things about you that I appreciate the most, man, because I see a lot of what I've done over the years in a lot of the stuff that you're doing, man. And honestly, it fires me up. I'm like, dude, I'm ready to get back grinding, man, because I'm like, yo, like, if he can do it, I can do it. You know what I mean? And if I can do it, anybody can do it. So, like, I appreciate you. I thank you for being on this podcast. Any words to the people that are watching, that are going to be listening?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, man, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I truly do feel like God kind of used you in a little bit, like today, to speak to me. And I know this seems to be kind of just part of your nature, part of who you are. I think you should be proud of that. I'm sure your kids are very lucky to have you, and your wife is very lucky to have you.
Appreciate
and I know
you,
you know
boss.
that, but this year so far has probably been one of the hardest years of my life in every area. If you look at every single area, um, it's it's tough because I had a lot of stuff going on in my personal life, going into nationals, um, and then plus the situation with nationals, and then everything else outside of my personal life and competing. Everything was kind of almost like at a rock bottom in a way, but my baseline was higher.
Right.
So I've only hit rock bottom a couple times in my life, but each time I have, my baseline is higher. This was the first time where I truly felt capable
Right.
of bearing the burden, and I felt, I guess the best way to describe it is, yes, there was a surrender, but there was also an ask, like a let me, like allow me to do this.
Right.
I will do it. I may not be able to do this alone, but I will do it. And it really does mean the world to me that someone like yourself, who's a father, a husband, a competitor, would see that in me. It's just very reassuring. Like, it really does kind of refill my soul. So I really want to thank you for that. But even beyond that, to everybody who's watching, I don't know, man. I guess my message is pretty fucking simple. Like, at the end of the day, I'm just a kid who lifts weights, man. I have a vision that I can be the best, like I can be the greatest, and I believe in that. And don't get me wrong, I still have doubts, I still have fears to this day. It's like, am I cut out for this? Can I do this? Going into this nationals, don't get me wrong, every athlete comes in confident, but I came in ready. There's a difference. Like, I came in knowing I was ready. So to still fall short and to recognize that, that's why I was so frustrated, man, because I knew I was ready.
Absolutely.
And what I will say is this, and this is kind of like, as I was writing my little cheesy Instagram caption for my recap, I realized I was born to be so great. I require some of the greatest challenges in every area of my life
Absolutely.
in order for me to get better. Anything less than that will break under me because I'm just that great. And I don't mean that from this place of I'm greater than you. It's just that I was born to be great and you were too. And so anybody who's listening, I hope that they understand they have potential beyond your imagination. The only limitation is time itself. And so don't allow anyone, including yourself, to put any other governor on top of you, any limiter on top of you, not a brand, not a sponsor, not a competitor, not your own thoughts, nothing. You have to know that you have the greatness within you. You have to believe in it. You have to have a vision, and you go towards that vision, and you don't fucking stop until you get there. I think it's just that simple. And like I said, I genuinely don't believe that I'm like special, that there's anything about me that's great. I'm not perfect. There's a lot of shit I fuck up with. So it's not even about what you have. It's how resourceful you are with what you have. And I think that as long as you have that attitude, then you will be able to move forward. And before you know it, you look back and you're like, holy shit, like this is how far we've come. And this is how strong I've become as a result of it. And I will say the last thing I'll say is it took me a while to love the pain and to love the adversity and love the challenges. And I'm not talking about that corny like workout bullshit, like, oh my God, yeah, I'm sweating, I'm dying on a leg press. I'm talking about like life pain, you know, like real shit, stuff that's like, I don't even know how to navigate this. Like, I don't even know what to do with this. Like, how do I, like real stuff. You have a choice to respond, not react. You have a choice to step up in those situations and decide who you're going to be. And that's something that the world can't take away from you. And I think that on this journey, if you can embrace the adversity and understand that it's for your betterment, it'll change everything for you. Any challenges that come your way, any adversity you face is an opportunity to simply get better. To me, there's no other alternative. And once you sign that contract, you go all in, you burn your ship, so to speak. You've now made the choice that no matter what comes your way, you will get better as a result of it. You're not going to stop. If they want to stop you, they have to kill you. They have to put you down.
Yes, sir.
So when you sign that contract, you don't got to worry about everything else. You just keep going and keep going and you keep going. You add that faith component, you become unstoppable. And yeah, man, I guess that would be so it's a long-winded answer, but I guess that would be the most important thing I could say.
I'm about to ready to run through a brick wall again. I appreciate you, boss. I really do, man. For those that want to follow you, that don't already follow you, how can they find you?
So on Instagram, it's just my first name, GAVIN_ADIN. On TikTok, it's GA Training. And YouTube, I've been really trying to push lately. YouTube is just my first name and my last name. So be more than happy to answer any questions, respond to people, chat with people. Like you said, we're here to kind of lift others up and build a community. And at the end of the day, man, we all just trying to be great. We're all just lifting weights.
That's facts.
You know, powerlifting is just a vehicle. That's all it is. So yeah, I appreciate anyone who wants to come in, chat, all of it.
Man, I'm telling you, boy, we got a real one on our hands. I don't even know. I guess listen. I'm good. That was wow, ladies and gentlemen, the man, Mr. Gavin Adin. I appreciate you, boss.
Thank you, brother.